All right, so today we're diving into something pretty fascinating.
Uh-huh.
Modern witchcraft.
Okay.
You might think of
Yeah.
bubbling cauldrons and pointy hats,
Right, right.
but it's actually way more innovative than that,
Absolutely.
especially with how it's using technology.
Mm-hmm.
So for this deep dive,
Right.
you've given us some really interesting sources about how these ancient practices
Yeah.
are evolving in our tech-savvy urban world.
It's pretty amazing how adaptable these traditions are. We're not talking about
Yeah.
abandoning the old ways,
Right.
but rather seeing them kind of woven into the fabric of our modern lives.
Exactly. It's like witchcraft is having its own digital renaissance.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of digital,
Yeah.
one of the things that really caught my eye in your sources was this concept of digital spellcasting,
Okay.
virtual altars,
Mm-hmm.
emoji spells.
Right.
It sounds almost like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It might seem like a big leap, but when you
Yeah.
think about it,
Right.
witches have always been early adopters.
Hmm.
They've always used the tools of their time.
Right.
And today,
Yeah.
those tools include smartphones and apps and the internet.
So what does this digital spellcasting actually look like?
Whoa!
Are we talking about sending hexes through text messages?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's more about using technology to kind of enhance and personalize your practice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
imagine this.
Okay.
You're feeling stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
So you open up an app
Okay.
like Harmonize,
Okay.
which lets you create a virtual altar.
Uh-huh.
You can light a digital candle,
Okay.
arrange crystals, maybe even play some calming nature sounds,
Mhm.
all personalized to your intention.
Okay.
It's like having portable sacred space in your pocket.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's not just about aesthetics.
No,
These apps actually have features that support magical practice.
absolutely. There are apps that track moon phases,
Oh.
provide digital grimoires with customizable spell templates,
Mm-hmm.
and even offer guided meditations specific to different intentions.
Oh.
One app,
Yeah.
Moonbeam, even uses AI to analyze your birth chart and suggest rituals aligned with your astrological energies.
Wow. AI and witchcraft.
I know.
That's definitely not what I expected.
Right.
But what about something like emoji spellcasting?
Okay.
That one still feels a little mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's actually rooted in this ancient practice of sigil magic,
Okay.
where symbols are used to represent intentions.
Right.
Emojis have become our modern-day hieroglyphs,
Uh-huh.
and they can be surprisingly effective in spell work.
So how does it work?
Okay, so
Do I just text someone a bunch of emojis and hope for the best?
there's a little more to it than that.
Okay.
First, you need a clear intention.
Okay.
So let's say you want to boost your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
You might choose emojis like the paint palette, the light bulb, and the dancing woman
Right.
to represent that intention.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
you charge those emojis with your energy through visualization or meditation,
Mm-hmm.
almost like you're programming them with your desire.
Interesting.
Finally, you can
Yeah.
send them to a friend,
Oh, wait.
post them online,
Mm-hmm.
or even just keep them in your Notes app as a visual reminder of your intention.
It's like creating your own little digital sigil infused with your personal energy. I can see how that could be really powerful.
Yeah.
But speaking of power,
Yeah.
where does the actual magic come from in digital spellcasting? Is it the technology itself,
Oh.
or is it something more?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
While technology provides the platform,
Okay.
the real magic comes from the practitioner's intention and energy.
Mm-hmm.
The digital tools simply help to focus and amplify that energy.
Right.
It's similar to how a magnifying glass can harness sunlight to create fire.
Uh-huh.
The glass itself isn't the source of the fire. Right.
But it channels and intensifies it.
That's a great analogy.
Dang.
So even though we're using digital tools,
Yeah.
the core principles of witchcraft remain the same. It's still about harnessing your personal power,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with natural energies, and setting intentions to manifest your desires.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about virtual altars and emoji spells, but what about people who crave a more tangible, hands-on approach to magic?
Sure.
Does all this technology mean that traditional practices are being abandoned?
Not at all.
Okay.
In fact,
Uh-huh.
many modern witches are finding creative ways to blend technology with more traditional, nature-focused practices.
Okay.
It's not about choosing one or the other,
Right.
but rather finding a balance that works for you.
So it's possible to be tech savvy and still have a deep connection to nature.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For example,
Yeah.
there are apps designed specifically for foraging.
Helping urban witches identify and ethically harvest herbs and plants in their local area.
Cool.
These apps even provide information on plant lore and magical uses,
Wow.
adding another layer to the experience.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, technology is actually helping people reconnect with nature
Mm-hmm.
in new and unexpected ways.
Uh-huh.
But what about those of us who live in concrete jungles?
Okay.
Is it even possible to connect with nature when you're surrounded by skyscrapers and traffic?
That's where urban witchcraft comes in.
Okay.
It's all about adapting traditional practices to fit city life. Think rooftop gardens filled with magical herbs,
Right.
windowsill altars bathed in moonlight,
Mm-hmm.
and even using the city's energy itself.
Okay.
The constant hum of activity, the flow of people as a source of power.
So instead of seeing the city as a barrier to magic, urban witches are finding ways to incorporate it into their practice.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that magic exists everywhere, even in the most unexpected places. You might find an urban witch creating a mini altar in a park,
Right.
using found objects like stones and leaves, or incorporating the symbolism of city landmarks into their spells.
Yeah,
They're incredibly resourceful and adaptable.
they are.
It's like they're
Yeah.
finding those little pockets of enchantment hidden within the urban landscape.
Yeah,
And
and
that-
they're not just limited to physical spaces.
Right.
Urban witches are also leveraging online communities for support,
Okay.
sharing tips on finding magical supplies in the city,
Uh-huh.
and even organizing virtual rituals to connect with others who share their path.
It's like a whole underground network of urban magic happening right beneath our noses.
It is.
But what about those aspects of witchcraft
Mm-hmm.
that are less about spellcasting
Okay.
and more about self-care and well-being?
Yeah,
How does that fit into the modern tech-infused world?
that's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
And it's an area where we see a beautiful intersection between ancient wisdom and modern wellness practices.
For example, crystal healing is having a major resurgence,
Right.
and there are now apps that guide you through choosing the right crystals for your needs,
Okay.
meditating with them, and even cleansing them energetically.
So it's not just about having a pretty collection of crystals.
No.
It's about understanding their energetic properties
Yep.
and how to work with them intentionally.
Exactly.
And it's not just crystals.
No.
We're also seeing a renewed interest in herbalism,
Uh-huh.
with many urban witches incorporating herbs and essential oils into their self-care routines.
Right.
Think ritual baths infused with calming lavender or energizing rosemary, or creating custom blends of essential oils to enhance meditation or promote restful sleep.
Yeah.
It's like taking those traditional herbal remedies and giving them a modern, personalized twist.
Okay.
But what about things like tarot and oracle cards?
Sure.
They seem to be everywhere these days.
They are.
Are they also part of this modern witchcraft self-care movement?
Absolutely.
Okay. But it's important to remember
Yeah.
that they're not about fortune-telling.
Right.
They're tools for self-reflection, for connecting with your intuition,
Mm.
and for gaining clarity on your path.
Okay.
Many modern witches use them as part of their daily journaling practice, or as a way to set intentions for the day ahead.
So it's more about using them as a way to check in with yourself,
Yeah.
to get guidance from your inner wisdom,
Right.
rather than trying to predict the future.
Exactly.
And there are even apps
Yeah.
that provide digital versions of these cards, allowing you to pull a card anytime, anywhere. Some of these apps even use AI to personalize the interpretations
Right.
based on your individual energy or current situation.
It's really quite fascinating.
Wow, technology really is transforming every aspect of modern witchcraft.
I think so.
It's fascinating to see how it's being used to make these practices more accessible, personalized, and relevant to our everyday lives.
It is.
It is.
And it speaks to the adaptability and resilience of these ancient traditions.
Right.
They're not fading away. They're evolving and thriving in ways we could never have imagined.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From virtual altars and emoji spells
Uh-huh.
to urban witchcraft and tech-infused self-care practices.
Right.
It seems like modern witchcraft is this vibrant tapestry, weaving together tradition and innovation in truly remarkable ways.
I agree.
But let's go back to that topic that really sparked my curiosity.
Okay.
emoji spellcasting.
Right.
I'm still a little fuzzy on the details.
Okay.
Can we unpack that a bit more?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a topic that deserves a deeper dive.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay.
What are the key steps involved in creating an emoji spell?
It all starts with your intention.
Mm.
What do you want to attract into your life?
Okay.
What energy do you want to cultivate?
Right.
Once you have a clear intention,
Yeah.
you can start to think about which emojis best represent that desire. Remember, emojis are like a visual language.
Mm-hmm.
So you're essentially crafting a symbolic message to the universe.
So if I wanted to manifest a new job, I might use emojis like the briefcase,
Sure.
mini bag,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a star to represent success.
Exactly. You're
Okay.
getting the hang of it.
Right.
It's all about finding those emojis that resonate with you and your specific intention.
Mm-hmm.
You can even get creative and combine emojis in unexpected ways
Okay.
to create unique sigils that hold deep personal meaning.
So there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Right.
It's all about intuition and personal expression.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's one of the things that makes emoji spellcasting so appealing.
Right.
It's accessible, playful,
Yeah.
and allows for a lot of creative freedom.
Okay.
You don't need to be an expert in ancient symbolism
Mm-hmm.
or have a deep understanding of magical correspondences to create a powerful emoji spell.
That's really empowering. It seems like emoji spellcasting is a great way for people who are new to witchcraft
Mm-hmm.
to dip their toes into magical practice
Right.
without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's a great entry point.
Yeah.
Because it feels familiar and approachable.
Right.
We're all using emojis every day,
Uh-huh.
so why not use them to infuse our digital communication with a little bit of magic?
I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm still curious about the practical side of things.
Okay.
Once I've created my emoji spell, what do I do with it?
All right.
Do I just send it to anyone?
Well, sharing your spell with others can help to amplify its energy.
Okay.
It's not always necessary.
Hmm.
The most important part is the act of creating the spell itself,
Uh-huh.
of imbuing those emojis with your intention and energy.
Okay.
You can choose to keep your spell private,
Mm-hmm.
sharing it only with yourself,
Right.
or you can send it to a friend who supports your magical journey.
Okay.
You can also post it on social media if you feel comfortable doing so.
So it's really up to the individual practitioner to decide how they want to share their magic.
Exactly.
It's all about finding what feels right for you and your practice.
Mm-hmm.
There are no hard and fast rules in modern witchcraft.
Right.
It's all about adapting the old ways to fit our modern lives.
Yeah.
And finding those practices that resonate with our individual souls.
Right.
That's really inspiring.
It is.
But I can't help but wonder, with all this focus on technology and digital magic,
Uh-huh.
are we losing touch with the natural world? Where does nature fit into this modern, tech-infused vision of witchcraft?
That's a question that many modern witches are grappling with.
Right.
And it's a topic we definitely need to explore further.
Okay.
Because even though technology is a powerful tool, it's important to remember that the source of all magic lies in nature itself.
So even in our digital age,
Mm-hmm.
the connection to nature remains essential for magical practice.
Absolutely. And we'll dive deeper into how modern witches are maintaining that connection in the next part of our deep dive. It's really fascinating how modern witchcraft is embracing
Right.
both the digital and the natural.
Mhm.
Like, it's not an either or.
Right. It's not like we have to pick one or the other.
Exactly.
We were just talking about how
Mhm.
nature is so crucial,
Yeah.
even when we're bringing technology into it.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
one practice that really highlights this is
Mm-hmm.
wand crafting.
Okay.
It might seem simple,
Right.
but there's so much depth to it.
Okay.
It's not just about finding a stick. It's
Wow.
like a mindful journey of connecting
Mm-hmm.
with the energy of a specific tree or branch.
So it's about more than just the physical object itself.
Uh-huh.
There's a whole ritualistic element to it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Many witches believe that each tree
Mm-hmm.
holds unique energy and wisdom.
Okay.
So selecting the right wood for your wand, right,
is a deeply personal and intuitive process.
So, for example,
Yeah.
does that mean like different woods have different properties?
yes, for example.
Okay.
Willow
Yeah.
is often associated with intuition and lunar energy,
Okay.
while oak is connected to strength and protection.
So it's almost like choosing a magical companion,
Mm-hmm.
one that resonates with your own energy and intentions.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And the process doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't.
Once you've found your branch,
Right.
then what?
Well, you might cleanse it with sage or incense
Okay.
to clear any residual energies.
Uh-huh.
Then comes the decorating.
Okay.
This is where you can really personalize your wand with crystals,
Right.
feathers, or even carvings
Okay.
that hold special significance for you.
So it's like an ongoing process of connection and customization. Almost like you're building a relationship with your wand over time.
Precisely.
Wow.
And every time you use your wand,
You're tapping into that connection, that energy that you've infused into it. It becomes an extension of your own magical will.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like a physical manifestation of your magical journey.
Exactly.
So even urban witches
Right.
who might not have easy access to forests
Yeah.
can still engage in this practice.
Absolutely. They might visit a local park or arboretum,
Okay.
mindfully collecting fallen branches, or even work with pieces of driftwood that have been carried to the city
Right.
by rivers or oceans.
It's like they're finding those little whispers of nature's magic,
Yeah.
even in the midst of the concrete jungle.
Yes. And there's a growing movement of urban witches who are taking this nature connection a step further by engaging in guerrilla gardening.
Okay.
They're planting herbs and flowers in neglected corners of the city,
Right.
bringing life and beauty to unexpected places.
So they're not just connecting with nature.
They're actively participating in its growth and expansion, even in urban environments. And are they doing this with just any plants?
Well, they're often choosing plants with specific magical properties,
Okay.
intentionally weaving magic into the fabric of the city.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's like they're creating these hidden pockets of enchantment, transforming the urban landscape with every seed they plant.
It's a beautiful way to reclaim the city for nature and magic.
And it speaks to this broader trend in modern witchcraft.
There are now apps that help you identify edible and medicinal plants in your local area, making it easier to forage safely and sustainably.
Right.
There are even apps that track the movements of the sun and moon, helping you align your rituals with natural cycles.
It's like technology is giving us these new tools to deepen our understanding and appreciation of the natural world. And it's making those ancient practices more accessible to people who might not have the time or resources to engage in them in more traditional ways.
Exactly. It's about meeting people where they are and empowering them to connect with magic in whatever way feels right for them.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's so inclusive and empowering.
it is.
But with all this talk of technology and innovation, is there a risk of losing sight of those core values of witchcraft?
Okay.
Like respect for nature and reverence for the old ways.
That's a valid concern. And it's something that many modern witches are mindful of.
Right.
It's a delicate balance. But I think the key is to approach technology with intention and discernment.
Okay.
It's about asking ourselves, how can we use these tools to enhance our practice rather than distract from it?
So it's about being conscious consumers of technology, using it in a way that aligns with our values and intentions.
Precisely. And I think we're seeing a growing awareness of this.
Okay.
Within the witchcraft community, there's a movement towards tech-mindful witchcraft, where practitioners are setting boundaries around their technology use, creating sacred spaces free from digital distractions, and prioritizing those practices that connect them to nature and their own inner wisdom.
It's like a digital detox for the soul.
You could say that.
But speaking of information overload, let's shift gears for a moment and to talk about another aspect of modern witchcraft that's particularly relevant to our busy, tech-driven lives. Mindfulness and self-care.
That's a great segue.
Because while technology can be a valuable tool, it can also be a major source of stress and anxiety.
It can.
And that's where those mindfulness and self-care practices that are so integral to witchcraft become even more important.
Exactly.
So it's like witchcraft is offering an antidote to the digital overwhelm that many of us are experiencing.
Right. And it's not just about escaping technology. It's about finding ways to integrate those practices into our daily lives, even when we're surrounded by screens and notifications.
So what are some examples of these mindfulness and self-care practices?
They're being embraced by modern witches. One practice that's becoming increasingly popular is grounding or earthing. which involves physically connecting with the Earth's energy. It can be as simple as taking a few moments to stand barefoot on the grass or soil, allowing the Earth's energy to flow through you and restore a sense of balance.
So even in the city,
Yeah.
we can find ways to tap into that grounding energy of nature.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can visit a park, walk barefoot on a patch of grass, or even just sit with your back against a tree.
Okay.
Visualizing your energy, connecting with the Earth's energy, it's a powerful way to release stress anxiety and any excess energy that you might be holding on to.
That sounds incredibly grounding and restorative.
It is.
What are some other practices?
Well, but modern witches are using to cultivate mindfulness and well-being. Crystal healing is a popular one, as we discussed earlier.
Right.
But it's not just about wearing crystals or placing them around your home.
Okay.
It's about intentionally working with their energies to support your emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being.
So how does one intentionally work with crystals? Is there a specific method or technique?
There are many different approaches.
Okay.
Some people like to meditate with crystals, holding them in their hands or placing them on their chakras. Others create crystal grids, arranging crystals in specific patterns to amplify their energy and intentions.
Okay.
And some people simply carry crystals with them throughout the day, using them as touchstones for grounding protection or inspiration.
It sounds like a very personalized practice.
Yeah.
Where you can really tailor it to your individual needs and intentions.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes crystal healing so appealing.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You can choose the crystals that resonate with you and work with them in whatever way feels intuitive and empowering.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about herbalism?
Okay.
We touched on that briefly earlier. Yeah, we did.
But I'd love to hear more about how modern witches are incorporating herbs into their self-care routines.
Herbalism is a rich and ancient tradition that's experiencing a beautiful resurgence in modern witchcraft.
Okay.
Witches are rediscovering the healing power of plants,
Right.
using them to create teas, tinctures, salves, and even magical baths.
So it's not just about using herbs for their medicinal properties.
No.
It's about incorporating them into rituals and practices that enhance well-being on a deeper level.
Exactly.
So, for example, can you give me an example?
A witch might create a ritual bath infused with lavender and chamomile to promote relaxation and restful sleep.
Okay.
Or they might burn rosemary and sage to cleanse their space and invite in positive energy. It's about working with the energy of plants in a conscious and intentional way.
It's like alchemy, transforming simple ingredients into potent potions for the mind, body, and soul. Right.
But what about those who are drawn to divination practices?
Sure.
We talked about tarot and oracle cards earlier, but are there other forms of divination that are popular in modern witchcraft?
There are so many fascinating divination practices out there.
Okay.
One that's particularly intriguing is pendulum dowsing.
Okay.
A pendulum is essentially a weight suspended from a chain or cord, and it's used to tap into your intuition and receive answers to yes/no questions.
So it's like a physical extension of your intuition, helping you access those deeper levels of knowing that might not be readily available to your conscious mind.
Precisely.
And can it be used for anything?
Yeah, for a wide variety of purposes.
Okay, like what?
From choosing the right crystals to use in a healing session to getting guidance on a major life decision.
It sounds incredibly powerful.
It can be.
But I'm curious, with all these different practices and tools available, how does a modern witch decide where to focus their energy?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that every witch has to answer for themselves.
Right.
There's no right or wrong way to approach witchcraft. Some people are drawn to a specific tradition or lineage.
Right.
While others prefer to create their own eclectic practice, drawing inspiration from various sources.
So it's about finding what resonates with your individual soul and following your own unique path of magic and discovery.
Exactly. And that path might evolve over time as you learn and grow.
Right.
And deepen your connection to your own inner wisdom.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah, it is.
But I can't help but wonder, with all this talk of digital spellcasting and tech-infused self-care, are we losing sight of the importance of physical rituals and ceremonies? Are those still relevant in modern witchcraft?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And one that we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. Because even though technology has revolutionized many aspects of modern life,
Right.
there's something truly magical about gathering in physical space, raising energy together,
Yeah.
and connecting with the ancient power of ritual.
You know, it's interesting to think about how technology has impacted
Yeah.
the way we experience ritual.
Right.
Like, it's so easy to connect online these days, but is there something missing
Okay.
when we move these sacred gatherings
Yeah.
into the digital realm?
It's a question that many spiritual seekers are wrestling with.
Right.
And it's not limited to witchcraft. We see it across many different traditions.
Right.
There's a growing recognition
Huh.
that while online platforms can provide a sense of community and connection,
Right.
they can't fully replicate
Yeah.
the energy and intimacy of being physically present with others.
So even in our hyper-connected world, there's still a need, a longing for those in-person embodied experiences of ritual.
Absolutely.
Wow.
There's something incredibly powerful about gathering in a circle with others,
Right.
feeling the energy of the group rise, and connecting to something larger than ourselves.
And it's not just about the energy of the group.
Yeah.
It's also about the physicality of ritual, the act of moving our bodies,
Right.
using our voices and engaging our senses.
Right.
These embodied practices help us to connect more deeply with the present moment, with the earth, and with our own inner wisdom. So it's about honoring the ancient wisdom of ritual, recognizing that these practices have been passed down for generations because they work on a deep primal level.
Precisely.
And it's not just about preserving tradition.
Right.
It's also about recognizing the power of ritual to create transformation in our lives.
Exactly.
When we gather with intention, set clear goals, and engage in practices that align with those goals.
Right.
It's both deeply rooted and constantly evolving.
It's really quite beautiful.
But I'm curious, with so much emphasis on technology, individualism, and urban living, is there a risk of losing touch with those core values of witchcraft, like reverence for nature
Right.
and respect for the old ways?
It's a valid concern.
Right.
And it's one that many within the witchcraft community are grappling with. But I also believe that there's a growing movement to reclaim those core values,
Okay.
to weave them into the fabric of modern practice.
Right.
We're seeing a resurgence of interest in herbalism, folk magic, and nature-based spirituality.
And there's a growing recognition that even in our digital age, connecting with nature remains essential for magical practice. So it's not about rejecting technology or trying to live in some romanticized past.
Right.
It's about finding a balance, a way to integrate those ancient practices and values into our modern lives.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the true magic lies, in that space of integration, where we honor the wisdom of the past and to explore, to experiment, to find what sparks your own sense of wonder and magic. Whether you're drawn to digital spellcasting, urban gardening, or gathering with others in sacred circle, remember that the magic is all around you, waiting to be discovered.
It is.
So to our listener, we encourage you to embrace your own unique path of magic, to find those practices that resonate with your soul, and to use them to weave a little more enchantment into your everyday life.
I love that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.